the same conditions, salary,
Yes.
housing, morale, training, all that the same, but you be satisfied with that, would you? Is that what you're
We
saying?
start from there. We
You,
start
you can
from there.
start from there,
It's not like a this thing, what they call it. You see, you start with what you have.
right?
You don't start
Okay,
with what you don't have. We don't have the sophisticated equipment yet.
okay.
But you start with the
So
human resources you have
allow
on
me,
the
allow
ground.
me, allow me. I posed that question for you so that I could then go to the next thing, which is this. I'm sure that's not the only thing you will accept. Would you also accept then an option where you have, let's say, 1 million soldiers instead of 3 million, but there are a lot more intelligence officers, a lot more modern equipments, drones, um, intelligence, basically,
Yes,
both
I
satellite.
don't,
Is that
without a
okay?
doubt. I might even prefer 1 million soldiers and quadrupling the intelligence services, because intelligence services, they tend to give a heftier return in
Okay
terms of
then.
security for the nation.
Okay then.
So,
See, hold on. Now that's important. That admission you made there, that stipulation, we're in the same plane. Nobody's gonna ask for good if you could have better. But to me, the way you sound, not just to me, I would say to everybody, is that your main concern is the numerics, right? The number
because the
of
numerics
soldiers.
is one of the most fundamental
Yeah, but you
features,
just said you just
and we have
sacrificed.
many of it.
No, but you just sacrificed 3 million for 1 million, but with better training, better equipment, higher morale,
I
pay, and
didn't
all that.
sacrifice it. If we can get 3 million, we should get it. But I said my own initial state, because I know we are not even ready to even think like that. We should start with 1 million this thing in terms of the military, and 1 million in the police, then quadruple the size of our intelligence services, because that is how you have a nation like Nigeria. We are not just a nation in terms of population; we are a strategically important nation too.
Okay,
These
so now
things,
tell me
yeah.
what would be the role of this bigger military? What would they be doing that they're not doing now?
One, ensuring that our national assets are protected, including our pipelines, so that they are not stolen, and ensuring that we don't IDP camps are closed. Nigeria is this is safe to operate in terms of business, so that people can feel confident that they can go to farm, do their farming without worrying about safety at all. In short, the point is our
Okay,
people should be
so
able to go out in the middle of the night and feel perfectly safe
okay,
in
so
the
hold on,
country.
hold on. So I'm trying to narrow it down. So would you then be satisfied with, let's say, the number of military we have now, whatever it is, right? But then you have uh, pipeline guards. That's a federal unit. They're not military soldiers. They don't have to be fully trained as soldiers, right? The soldier's job is to obey orders, go out there and shoot the enemy, who is usually external, right? So if what you are requiring is to guard the pipelines, and let's say in addition to that pipeline guard service, it could even be private, but let's just say it's a national service. And then in addition to that, you also have enlarged forestry, right? There's a Department of Forestry, so that they'll be able to guard the farms. They're licensed to carry weapons, but they're not military. The military is a separate thing that requires a whole lot of things. But let's say it's state uh, level, the states are giving permission, especially those states that have farms, they're able to have a forestry department that licensed to carry weapons and do all kinds of things. Would that suffice for what you're aiming at, which is security?
It
But
will
it's
not
not by
suffice,
soldiers.
because it will not suffice because it's not efficient, and their loyalties are not necessarily to the state. And my point is that the military, because they are flexible, you can move them from one activity to the other. When it is a crisis, well, you can't move those guards from guiding pipelines to maybe dredging this thing for dredging for this floods and stuff like that. They can do that. The military is flexible. That's the whole point. And
Okay.
I don't understand why we are
Uh,
like even
no,
bothering with this.
no,
Other
no.
nations do it. This
I
is not
understand, but listen,
sacrilegious stuff I'm saying here.
it's not. Listen, the point is that if these questions I'm asking you is going to have flesh out what you're talking about, right? So you're going to ask a lot of questions. Then you could ask me questions. So now that it's my turn to ask you questions, the other question I have for you is that because you kind of mix it up there as if some of this army or the military you're trying to put together is going to fight, let's say, the United States, right? Or Britain, or even Arab states, right? Egypt or something like that. Right? Am I getting you correct? Are you preparing? Are you preparing the nation to defend itself against all enemies, foreign and domestic?
Yes.
All right. So, what kind of military do you think you would need to fight an adversary who is thousands of miles away, but could push buttons and land Tomahawk missiles, carpet to carpet bombing, ability to fight you with laser from space, from satellite, right? What do you need to defend yourself from such an adversary? Just be the military strategist now that you talk about. Let's bring it to practical terms. What are you going to need for Nigeria to be able to protect itself from an adversary who not only does he have a naval force, seafaring that has permission to park their vessels 3,000 miles away, but they could push a button and within seconds they will land missiles on you carpet to carpet, right? They'll have some that could hang in the air. They have drones that could hang in the air for days, for weeks, for months. Okay. So how do you prepare Nigeria? Just tell me right now, including soldiers now. Okay. How does the soldiers play a role in that kind of defense?
That kind of defense, if you are one, we are not in a war with a country like a superpower. If let's say we are in a war with a superpower, which chances are that it's not going to happen. If we're in a war with a superpower that wants to rain missiles down into the country, then you shift your tactics. You don't go and start taking them head on. You shift your tactics into a kind of guerrilla warfare where you understand how to vanish and reappear where they don't expect you. And that war, for a
What about
person
your
like me,
civilians you're supposed to protect? If you vanish and you reappear as a soldier, you go in a bunker or whatever it is,
when
right?
you're at war,
Right.
when you're at war, you do what is necessary. Civilians will be targeted by the enemy. They will do that. That's what they do. You are sitting in the Russian-Ukraine war already. So that's what they do. You do what you need to do to win the war, or at least not lose, because the
Okay.
war will happen. We have seen wars happen like in Vietnam and all the other wars. There's only as much bomb they can throw. Look at what they did to this in North Korea. They flattened the country. Like 80% of all the structures in North Korea was destroyed, which means some towns, every single structure was destroyed. And yet, look at North Korea today, they bounce back. Because the trick is that you have to be resilient. You have to understand that you have to earn your way in this world. If you don't fight your way in this world, you are just a slave, and you are just preventing, you are in a way delaying the inevitable. That
All right,
either
but
you
you
confront
have
that
to couch
enemy
your remarks
or
in
you
the
are going to
debate.
die.
That's the debate we're having here, right?
Yeah.
You're going to couch your remarks. It has to be responsive to the debate. So
I'm responding to it now.
You want me to define the debate, or do you already know what it
No,
is?
because you said that if we were taking on a superpower, and I said, and we are not going to be taking on a superpower, because like I said, my whole calculation is going to be based on the idea that if you want to take us on because you want, let's say, 100 naira, I'll make sure you spend 500 naira taking us on. So that's the idea, and in a way, that's the same idea the North Korea did this in the Singaporean leaders too. I think they call it the poisonous shrimp kind of this in doctrine, or kind of that if you want to come and take them on, you might win, but you'll be poisoned. And as a nation, as a power, you feel the impact of what they've done to you, and that is what you want to do. In other words, you have to make it costly for your enemy to come for you. And so far, we've
And
not done that.
that's good. But you see, I'm not on this debate, but it would have some extensions to the size of the military, right? The size,
Yes.
numeric numbers of the military, 3 million, a million, or whatever the number you prefer. Remember, I'm saying that states are rational actors in the international arena, right? They calculate their gains by not in absolute terms like an individual would do, but rather in relative gain. So there are so many things. There's about 7 things you have to worry about in your international affairs, international relations. The least one, of course, is important. It's prestige, right? I think you probably alluded to that a little bit. You're gonna have to, if you want, you have to do things that will prevent you from getting into war.
Yes, of
You have to
course.
secure your country. You have to have a progressive country. You have to have people educated. You have to have a good government. You have to, there's a lot of things that once you do that, then the size of the military we have, you're going to have intelligence
So sorry,
officers.
let me just
Yeah.
remain. This is response to Dami Eyo. I don't know why this guy is talking. Even I don't know whether it's some kind of this thing. In Russia, I'm looking at it right now. When Russia even started the war, they had active military of about 1 million. I don't know where he's getting this from. They've always had active military of about 1 million people. He's saying that Russia didn't have active military of 500,000 when they started the war. Yes, they did. You think they would throw all of them inside this Ukraine? They will use it to secure. Russia is a massive country. They have to keep the whole nation
That's a
secure.
debate you had with somebody earlier. Is that it?
No, he's on the chat. He's saying all kinds of
Okay.
stuff.
Okay. So, but I am trying to, because you have to admit that every time you host a panel, which is often, you talk about this issue a lot. You don't think that Africans or Nigerians have respect for the size of the military that they complain about.
Security. They don't have respect for security. They
So
don't
security.
understand it.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, to a degree, you're right. Everybody in Nigeria is complaining about the security in the country, but it's not from enemies, from foreign enemies, that we are not able to secure our country. We're being undermined internally. That is why, like I said before, when you look at Niger and you look at northern Nigeria, the demographics, the religion, it's just the same people, the same thing. So when we talk here in Nigeria, they say, oh, look, the northerners are more sophisticated than you. You in the south, you don't do this. And it's not true. You could see that right there. Their uranium is being carried away generation after generation.
Why they live in poverty, and when you tell our fellow Africans, they're like, oh no, we can't do this, we shouldn't do this. What kind of, I don't know who did this to us. It's like some kind of curse. We are in a spell that we can't get out of.
Right. You know, a country such as France, like I said, all these countries, they've been at it for a long time. They know how to colonize people. So they know if, say, Nigeria build nuclear facilities for power, nuclear energy, right? Then we're going to need that uranium from next door, but we have our own. They don't want that. They don't want us to develop because we're going to be needing those things. And people like United Kingdom and France, they cooperate because they've already done the scramble a long time ago and divided Africa up, and then they made peace. And they gave us our quasi-independence here. We'll go and take a look at Cameroon and Congo, how these people are killing our people, massacres. It's like you take a look at Cameroon next door, and they prop up a dictator there, and they have a fight between Francophone people who speak French and Anglophonic brothers and sisters of theirs. And then Google it. You're gonna see how they kill people. I mean, buy people. I don't think they're allowed to kill here. So same thing in Congo. Go and see where they mine these diamonds and all kinds of stuff there that are being used in computers. So it's not a new thing. We know what's going on. No amount of soldiers are gonna be able to take care of those things. We have to modernize the states, the country. We have to modernize it, educate these people, reduce these animals between tribes. Those are more important than the military, as far as, because you're no match for them. You're no match. You're never going to be a match.
The thing is, you can't look at it from the point of view that we are no match. We are a match to anybody, really, if we put our minds to it. And the idea behind it is that, first, like I said, you have to make it costly. You can't just remain at the bottom floor.
How?
That by securing yourself, you shouldn't make your nation very susceptible to being undermined. There are very many ways to undermine a nation. There are this in combat ways to undermine a nation. There is
Bingo.
something
Right
yeah,
there.
there are
Hold
national
on.
sabotage ways to
Right.
undermine a nation.
Right there. That's the point I'm making. You need intelligence more than actually the hardware, right?
No,
Hold on, let me just land. I know that I was talking before. I'll listen to you after this. But what I'm saying to you, understand what I'm saying to you. In a country such as Nigeria, our needs are different from Eritrea or the United States. We have unique needs. We're lucky. We don't have more powerful neighbors than us, right? So the temptation for anybody to invade Nigeria is very minimal. So the kind of expenditures we have to make militarily are different. We have to invest a lot in intelligence. We have to invest a lot in training professional soldiers. Even if you have half of what we have now, that are more properly trained, who could operate drones, who could.
Oh my God, you guys, man!
Listen to me. Listen.
You don't even understand the challenge. If you are saying that right now, you don't have a clue what the challenge is. Then,
well,
see, America with all their challenge, they still have 2 million soldiers. With all their advanced weapons as they've got, they still have 2 million. And you are telling me that Nigeria.
What do those soldiers do in the United States case?
They are flying drones. They are doing all kinds of stuff, ships and all the rest. They are doing all kinds of different things.
But
with all their advancement, they still have more people. And Russia is more advanced than us. They have 1 million soldiers.
The United States has military bases in all continents, right? Including, say, in the United Kingdom, in Germany, in Japan, in Korea. Yes. Those soldiers are defending the hegemony of the United States, right? They're not, for example, you don't see soldiers like I'm in here in the United States. I hardly see a soldier.
So hold on. Let's stop here. Hold on. Let me say something, because you've been doing a lot, most of the talking.
No,
you keep saying you will let me talk, but you don't let me talk.
Respond to what I'm saying. I'm saying what you just.
No, let me say something. Let me say something. You won't let me talk.
You know, I'm gonna let you talk, but hold on, because you keep. To whom much is given, much is expected. You keep giving me a lot of things to respond to. You say the United States has.
I say very little, and you have a lot to. Yeah.
Okay.
They have 2 million.
And I'm trying to tell you how they're dispersed and why they needed 2 million. I first said that our needs are different from you. We're not trying to defend the hegemony, for example, right?
So why
we don't have bases. We don't have bases to deter China from invading the South Pacific. Asian Pacific, right? We don't need to defend Germany, right? We don't need to defend South Korea from North Korea. There's a lot of things that United States.
That's why Algeria too has more military than us.
Yeah, but that neighborhood. That neighborhood.
What do you mean? Oh my God, Jesus Christ! See, hold on. Now I need to talk.
Okay,
You've had your turn.
Go ahead.
So clearly, what you have been doing here is to make all the necessary excuses to say, let's not increase our military size. Maybe I will give granted that you did say that we should increase the size of the intelligence services, but you actually made an argument to slash the military size by half. You have 200 million people. What are you doing with them? Jesus Christ, what is wrong with our people? When you see people that have 3 million and they have such a high number to maintain their security, you say we are lucky. We've been enslaved and colonized. What else do you want? Oh my God. I can't believe you people sometimes. No wonder black people are suffering around the world. The kind of terms you use to describe these things, I can't help you if you cannot understand that when you've been enslaved, there are people out there that their forefathers, their grandfathers were part of people that used to own our people, that used to colonize us. And you sit here and say, we are not facing any problem. A moment ago, you were telling me that they can throw bombs from far away to come and kill us. But now you are saying we don't have enemies. I don't understand how you people think. You rationalize weakness. This world, if you want to prevent your people from being subject to enslavement, conflict, and poverty, you have to prepare for war. That is what even Americans know. That is what the British know. That's what the Japanese know. They all know it. It's only us. This is the secret. It's only us that don't understand it. And when they speak that language, some people are like, oh my God, they say India me took care of security. Oh, how crazy is that? How can he? No, it's not weird. This is what the whole world is doing if you don't protect anything. And this is why when we start to speak grammar and say we need to train in here, we need this here, we should look at private security here, I ask you again, simplify it. Leave your house open, leave your window open, publish your address outside, and tell them what you've got in there. Let's see how long you stay and be prosperous. You will never be prosperous. And when we talk about security, it's not either or. It has to be done if you're going to survive. It's just that simple. If I was on the other side of the fence, if I was an Igbo man, and you people are here talking about, I don't care too much about security, let's take our time to do other things and all, I would be so happy. Because now I don't have to even spend extra money to ensure that I keep people in check. Because you are doing it for yourselves. You are self-weakening yourself. It's like a man shooting themselves in the foot and saying, let's not defend ourselves. Then your enemies or your rivals will be like, oh, I don't need to spend more money, going to that country. I can save that money to grow this in my economy and my people's well-being. While the little I have left, I can use it to still keep them under check. Like they are proud of this. They talk about this on their own this thing. If you go to African website, you see the documents. They are proud of how they spend very little to control
so
us.
let me come in here
because we are doing the job ourselves.
Hold on. On security, Nigeria is right. We need to the 5.5 we are spending now billion for military this thing. We need to increase it. We need to buy more fighter jets, but increase the military personnel, do a lot of things because what we have now is too small.
It's just pathetic now. Nobody respects
the
it.
number. The thing is that, let's say this, Nigerians, we want our government to perform miracle. Another thing is that we are not willing to pay for anything, but we want everything to go like we want to become America, London, but we are not willing to pay for it. These things are not free. If you want 100% security in your country, you have to pay for it. The government have to increase your tax. You see, that's why sometimes I would say Nigerians are not ready for Nigeria development. Because look, for example, look at tax to GDP. That will tell you we are not serious people.
Yeah, we are not serious people. It's almost as if we have been brainwashed to think that, let's not protect ourselves. Let's just leave ourselves open. No other people do this. I don't understand. And many of these people live in America, a highly militarized nation. They live in America. I live in the UK.
Nigeria, don't blame them. Nigeria leaders.
UFC, hold on. Let me respond to what you said already. UFC.
Okay, go ahead.
You made some. I'll be brief. Now, to Nigeria, I am not disagreeing. If we can afford to do a lot of things, we should do a lot of things. There's no idea about that. But the only thing I'm saying to you is that when you're talking about security measures for a nation, for a country, you have political, economic, military power, diplomacy to safeguard the nation, right? So, like UFC Superfan said, if we can, there's a study that you need to do even before you talk. As you're talking here, you should be able to do some study that is possibly peer reviewed, where you determine what is our security need. You don't have unlimited money to equip and maintain soldiers and the equipment that's required, the training and all that. Whatever, it's a big undertaking. You talk about 300,000 people, you want to take it to 1 million. They could barely. Have you been to the barracks and see where our soldiers sleep?
Have you noticed that the Nigerian GDP is depressed by 10%? That is 50 billion. $50 billion, our GDP is depressed by 10% because of insecurity alone.
Right. I agree. But like I said to you before, I was trying to be innovative. I said that when you're talking about soldiers, combat soldiers to fight Europe or fight African states or fight terrorists, right? That's a different undertaking that requires a lot of money to maintain. But when you're talking about terrorists who are involved in asymmetrical warfare or all this ragtag Boko Haram type of people, those are politically propped up people. I could take care of those people in 2 weeks, all of them. If I'm put in charge to take care of the Boko Haram, I could take care of them in 2 weeks, including
You
wiping
see,
them out.
now,
No, hold on, let me land on what I'm
okay.
trying to say, because that's a tangential point. The point I'm making to you, I said to you, short of you doing a study to know what it takes to secure the country, how much it's going to cost, what we need, right? If you viscerally just want to talk about it, I would say Garden pipeline will be similar to what they're doing in the crude way right now. It's not good using former military, not military, former terrorists in the South to guard our pipelines. But you could bring real businesses to do that job, right? Make sure they're licensed and they apply through the states, and those who are who
Oh
meet,
my
who
God.
made it.
You really
Let
have
me
a
land.
problem
Let
with
me
Nigeria having a strong military.
land.
Jesus Christ.
What you don't know is that I'm being kind to you, because I
You're
think.
not actually.
Hold on.
What is the use of being kind
Let
to
me
me?
say to you
Be
that
kind to your own people.
I'm being kind to you in not really being forceful in dealing with you on this, because I want to
Go
see.
ahead and be forceful.
I will in a minute.
Please,
I'm
go ahead.
I'm trying to say to you, I think you're sincere, you're concerned, but you're woefully wrong in what you're doing, right?
You are wrong.
You
are wrong. You are telling us to hire security guard to protect our
on
district.
that.
Who is going to respond to natural disasters? Who is going to respond to external threat? Who is going to respond to internal threats?
Right now, you
and
have
no, you've had your say now. Let me have my own say.
I said,
because you tend to go on for too long.
I will
Okay,
land.
go ahead.
Let me just land. I'll take a couple of more sentences. If I don't, then you could stop me. But what I'm saying to you is that you have to be innovative in your thinking. That's what I'm saying to you. When you've adumbrated the needs and you say, guarding the farms, guarding the pipelines, perhaps, I think you also mean, even though you didn't say, guarding our borders, those are services that could be done without them being soldiers. It's just like going out there hiring a bunch of police officers and housing them in barracks. That's just too expensive, because you could do it where people, they're not really police officers, but they're security personnel. They're trained to do certain tasks. All right, because in the federal government of Nigeria, you have about 60 odd things on exclusive list. And
okay,
then,
so
and then the rest on the concurrent
you
list.
said I should stop you when you keep going.
Okay. See, so what I'm saying, that's what you have to tackle first.
See,
once you're able to remove those things from the exclusive list and the concurrent list, and hand some of those things
can I
to the
respond?
states.
Let me just respond to this.
But
I think what you are doing
what I
is
said.
compounding the problem instead of solving it. You are just doing the same thing oh my God, we've been doing everything individually. We've been isolating everything. Oh, Nigerians are providing electricity for themselves. We are providing borehole to get water for ourselves. We are everything we do by ourselves individually. And now you are saying, oh, so instead of to use the major security of the nation to secure the pipelines too, you are saying, oh, let's get another small entity. Any nation that keeps creating subnationals that are involved in security this in a sector at that level, you are creating potential vulnerabilities too. You have to create a strong military like oh my God, how many times do I need to say it? Like every other people do. This is not rocket science. It's not even a debate. It's not even an argument here and there. No. Everybody else is doing it. And look at where they all are. We are not doing it. Look at where we are. And it's a common sense thing. I even use a simple example of you leaving your house every day. Sooner or later, every day is for the owner, and one day is for the thief on this one.
Can I interject?
The day the thief will come, you will not have anything left. And that's that is the example of our life in Nigeria.
Could I interject to that point? Because you say everybody else is doing it. I'm talking now from the United States perspective, right? If America were to go out and create one behemoth, let's say police officer, American police, it'd be impossible to guard this country, right? It's a huge continent of a country. Here you have the city police, you have county sheriffs, you have school police. Right? Oh, just the same. These police officers are just equipped. They have their cars, the patrol units. They have they're equipped with the guns, and they have their SWAT teams. They could do almost anything any military can do. All these in this United States I'm talking about, right? You have campus police, like I said, and other lower. Even though they have the FBI and they have other U.S. Postal Service police, for example. Then you have the Rangers, right? If you go out there and set fire on a park or something like that, those people are just as police as any other police. They have drones, they have intelligence, they have SWAT teams. So that's what I'm trying to say to you. You could do the division. If they have one,
you're talking about
giant
police. You're
police
not, the military is not like that. The
no,
military is not
but
like
you
that. They have
security, to secure
yes,
the
security.
country.
That's just one area, and
Yeah,
even that one, even if they, but it's still
the police is
police.
just
It's not
look at this guy.
subcontractor.
You're not,
Hold on, no,
you're
hold
not
on.
serious. You're not serious.
It's still police. It's not subcontractors under police. What you are doing, you're saying, oh, let's not use police to secure the pipelines. Let's find another subcontractor. No, that's what you are saying. Is not the point you are making. Hold on.
I just told you that these police officers are more military than the Nigerian army, right? Every little police.
But that is not the point you were making. You're making confusing points here.
No,
the original point you made was that they should use ordinary people to go and protect the pipeline.
You're looking at nomenclature of army and police. I've just told you. Listen to me. Any police station here, right? Any of them, postal police, campus police, they are more equipped militarily than the Nigerian army. 10 times more equipped, right?
Yes.
More trained, they're just better.
I'm not sure campus police is more equipped than Nigerian army,
yes,
but
they are.
Go ahead.
Yes, they are. Trust me.
Because your country is a war zone, but that's not the same in Canada. That's not in most countries, to be fair. America is very, very unusual in terms of their internal security and in terms of their internal security. But compared to other nations, very, very unusual. If you look at the UK, it's very, very straightforward. They have different departments of police, like Metropolitan Police. They have other police in other parts of Manchester Police. They have different police departments in the country, but they are all still under the nation, and they are national police units, so that they can send them from different parts of the country. So as long as they are police. But what you are saying is that instead of us increasing our police numbers and increasing our military and intelligence numbers, let's look for other ways not to do that. As if that's more efficient. It's not more efficient.
It is more efficient. It is more efficient because
the reason why it's not more efficient, that is specialized. When what militaries do is that they respond to different kinds of threats. They can it can be a natural disaster. It could be a instability in the nation where there is a uprising. It could be foreign invasion. Military adapts, but that doesn't, and that's why most nations that do these things. It doesn't adapt because
you're wrong.
You're gonna move somebody from pipeline to go and start doing national instability.
Whatever units can handle, they can always call in SWAT. They could call in the FBI, the federal units. There's so many things.
So when trouble comes, you still call in the ones that are meant to do it.
Yeah, if you had done a study, then I'll listen to you. You don't know
what he just said was that when the chips are down, you still have to rely on the major group. Then why are you not relying on them in the first place?
Because it's very expensive to do that. That's why.
But it's not for.
I know, you can't keep going on the.
But it is not.
Why? Why do you say that?
That is patently false. Because other nations are doing it.
No security. Security is too expensive.
No.
Sorry.
It is not. Singapore is doing it. Japan is doing it. Other nations are doing it. See, when you say it's too expensive, that is a term that reveals where you are coming from. It's a term that many Nigerians don't understand. Hold on now.
It's not a line item.
We can afford it. We can more than afford it.
If you look at what Nigeria elites, business leaders, are paying for security, if they actually pay their tax, we'll be able to cover all this expenses. But no, they rather have personal security that will guide them and protect them. Why don't you just spend the money? Let's pay for this.
I agree with that. Why do I agree with that?
Let me give you one other example in the UK, where the prime minister, like when Boris Johnson was in office, he's able to bike to work. And the reason why he's able to do that without any major sirens everywhere and motorcade all over the place, because the national security has been taken care of. The military is strong. This intelligence service is strong. All the police is strong. You don't, like in the houses here, you don't necessarily need burglary proof. as like Nigeria, everywhere they put burglary proof. People are doing it individually. See, Pansat, what you don't understand is that we are already spending the money in reality, in real terms. Nigerians are paying for it in other ways, but individually and less efficiently, just like we generate electricity in a less efficient manner. So the money is already there in Nigeria. Not to mention, you know, when I mentioned the GDP of Nigeria being depressed by 50 billion, that alone, not to mention Nigerians coming back from the diaspora.
I gave you the solution to
that,
right?
Unbelievable.
Hold on, I gave you the solution to that, right? So you're coupling a couple of arguments here. You and I, we don't differ by much. In your case, you're looking at semantics and nomenclature, right? Unless I say you have this giant military where you have millions of soldiers, right? But I've broken that down in order to elicit for you to be reasonable. Right?
There's no reasoning with reducing the size of the size of your protection. Protection.
I said to you, if you actually go and do a study, right? We can peer review it for you. You do a scientific study of what does it take to secure our country. Because if you build a 3 million army today, it's not just the cost of building.
I don't know why you keep saying 3 million. I never said 3 million.
I'm giving us the number. Say a million. Let's say a million, right? Okay,
Yep.
If you do 1 million, I believe we could afford it. It's costing us a lot more than that. But there are many ways to get to exactly what you're talking about, because I just told you our security requirements, they are specified, right? You have to secure the borders. You have to secure the skies. You have to secure our food supplies. You want to make sure we have food security. People have to go back to the farms. All this is
exactly.
Right, all this asymmetrical thing, but aside
let me just add one more just to support that point you made. Yesterday we were having a conversation here, and it occurred to us that most countries around the world that are relatively more developed, they have people working almost 24/7. They work at night, they work during the day, but in our country we shut down because at night there's barely anything. There's no security. There is nothing. Our economy is dying because we refuse to do what needs to be done. So please go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So what I was saying is that three of us here, and perhaps almost everybody listening to us, we've been through this problem so much that we're almost experts in this. We know what we need, but it's going to be futile, narrow-minded. You don't want to be like, for example, the Arab states of the 70s and 80s. They go and buy gold-plated jets to defend their places. It's stupid, right? You want to really be truly secure, because these are the people you're dealing with, adversaries who sell you, let's say you go and buy jets, especially in this day and age. They could push a button and those jets will fall apart, or they won't even move on the day you're going to need it to use it, right? They could jam.
I never said anything about jets.
Okay, no, I use jets, use whatever, use tanks, use anything. They could jam it by pushing a button. They could be satellite control. Like right now, I go buy Tesla. I could drive it.
For me, as a military strategist, I wouldn't invest in anything that can easily be destroyed.
Keep interjecting
because you go on for a bit long now. That's why.
No. But even if I'm going long, you have to hear what I'm saying.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm responding to you.
Try to keep it short so we can go to and fro. You see, one point at a time.
Okay, fine. Let me then land. I like that. That's good. If you said that kind of rule, I would work with you on it. And UFC, you shouldn't be left out of this. What I'm saying to you is that security is not just the army. I named to you all kinds of things that you have to secure. You have to be, that country needs to produce a lot of engineers. That country needs to produce a lot of medical doctors.
Agreed.
They all have to be paid very well. That country needs to build out infrastructure and have respect for its citizens. That country has to secure its borders. There's so many things. That country has to produce enough food. There should be food security in that country, right? That country needs to promote cohesiveness, to make it a country where everybody feels that they belong into that country. Those kind of things would cost less than building a super military. The military we have right now, though, has to be taken care of. They have to be well trained. Equipment has to be there. They need to be producing. In my case, now I do have a childish solution to it, because in most things I notice that's what it takes. Things that are normally written off, it's usually what it takes. I believe that the military, our soldiers should be retrained to be engineers. Structural and otherwise, to go out there and rebuild that country.
Go ahead,
I want to say something.
Yeah, go ahead.
Concerning Nigeria food security. See, when I was growing up, my parents, they have small business, even including my friends. All of us, our parents have farm. In those our farm, what we do, we grow and produce what we eat, like gari, yam, vegetables, and other things. We grow them from those farms. We don't buy them in the market. So that help with my parents, whatever they are making, including my friends, most of them also they do that on Saturday. Back then, it's for farming. We must go to farm on Saturday. You understand me? But if you look at it, Nigeria currently these days, people just like a lot of people have left the villages and they have moved into the city and they are not doing anything. All they do is just complain. They are not doing anything to help at all, help their situation. Because there's certain things you can grow. You don't need to go to market and buy these things. You can grow them like gari, yam, corn, vegetables. All those things can be done, but people no longer do that.
Exactly.
I get really exhausted with some Nigerians. They will like look for every way. When you tell them to do the necessary, they look for every way to dilute it down so that it's not of any use. And this is why nothing works in that country. You tell them secure yourself, they'll say, "Oh wow, how about if you do this? How about if you do this?" You tell them these your leaders are traitors, like, but maybe we should work with them. I'll say you tell them you need to be able to be ambitious with foreigners. They'll say, "Oh no, but what if you just do this? You do it this way." They always try to moderate everything. In the end, nothing works.
That's the way they gotta do it. Be specific. Also, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Let them tell us what he's talking about.
This also. Nigerians in diaspora, some of them must be willing to take a pay cut.
They don't want to now.
Come and
they just want to enjoy.
You can't stay there and complain.